This is a different tone from the previous 3 episodes of Raw we've had so far. We start here immediately on a match, no pan to commentators, nothing, just a straight match. Nice roll-up of the bat. He's actually saying real things. Also, I don't know why that makes me laugh. So first squash match of the night. At least this time Demento misses way less. I was about to say because this is taped, but apparently not. This is a live show. Well, you know, I say this is a squash match. It's a bit more of an enhancement match, with very little in the way of knowing who would win it. Still, Demento with a lot of time on the attack. So much that the New York crowd chants that they want Flair, which I don't blame after last week. Tatanka going for a Tatanka up. I mean, it's a trope that works, especially for the era. It makes crowds go a bit. Mostly because they knew a match would end soon after that. Samoan drop for the finish, and I want to say something for Tatanka. Even if he's not a fantastic character, I like the fact he's still a character more honoring a group of people, more than going for an El Grande Americano type of deal, even if a bit of a caricature, it's not pushed up to bad extremes. Headlock on Unger. At least the WWF was generous back then. A bit, at least. I hope they actually gave the money for real, because that's almost $250,000 in today's money. I don't really know how to give wins for promos yet, but here's my attempt at it. Also, here comes Beefcake. Never been a huge fan of his, but at least up until 1990, he could wrestle a bit. And then his injury happened. The structure of the promo is good enough, giving first the intentions, and then giving his reasons for the absence, and everything happening there. I'll say this isn't too bad as a promo. Is Beefcake always believable? Not really. But when he talks about his family and accident, yeah, that's still quite believable and probably true, so that's why. The wife part, probably not, brother. We know the accident is true, and the reconstruction of his face too, so he can absolutely say that believably.
Much of a chance.
Oh my god. I should not be laughing at this, but this was my first reaction. It was so out of left field. You need to calm down in the crowd. The crowd is not buying anything said in this story. Until...
The hand of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, now you're invested, huh? Well, some are. I will say one thing for this early era of Raw for their promos. Why was the camera this close up? You can see every pore on Beefcake's face. This promo should have been under 5 minutes. It's 7 minutes. The point stands though, there are worse promos. A win hard is always a win. I don't have a long time to place it, as this is a 1.5-minute match. That just screams Jobber Team, doesn't it? You know who also screams?
Against the wall, and when somebody's...
Iron Mike Sharp. Seriously, this was 1 minute and 33 seconds. At least we saw 2 good moves and a very nice skip-up dropkick from Owen. Nothing to see really though. Man, Mr. Matt Bourne is having a whole lot of fun with that character. He really went all out with that gimmick. Immediate drop toe hold, always trying to sweep the legs. Doink was something at the beginning. He really was, and hardcore fans in New York actually understand that too, chanting for Doink. Never a gimmick that would have become a main eventer, but he could have definitely won a secondary title if they kept taking him seriously. This is basically a squash match for Doink against an established guy like Typhoon, but it's quite nice to see all the different ground moves that Doink goes for. Winning with the tights in very quick fashion and making Typhoon look like a dumbass. But again, it works for him. Oh, that look. I love that. That's what the gimmick is actually about. Intimidating, but goofy. They really should have given him some control in his gimmick because he was something. Andre the Giant passed away before that broadcast. And so, yeah, man, that hurt back then. Look, I'm French, it also has a bit of a different impact because that guy is a monument not just to wrestling but to France. I wasn't even born before 2000, but everyone knows about Andre here. He was a freak of nature, someone different, but so fucking kind and genuine. He loved doing what he did so much, he gave away his body and life for all of this, not taking surgeries that would have made his situation a whole lot better, because he wouldn't be the same with that and couldn't be the Giant anymore. Of course, in hindsight, definitely shouldn't have done that and should have saved his life. But that's how much Andre cared about us. So much that he didn't about himself.
It's Monday Night Raw, and it's uncooked.
Uncensored.
And when you have Vince and Savage immediately going back to their Raw shtick, fuck that. You are disrespecting a fucking legend. Imagine that during the Owen Hart tribute show, for fuck's sake. God, another Yokozuna squash after a month. Can't give him at least something a bit more involved? The entrance is longer than the match itself. And at the same time, you have the interview from Duggan, not working at the beginning, and then it's just racist remarks. The 90s. Not winning that, of course. This is the most dominant squash on Raw so far. Not even a single offensive move. It doesn't really build Yoko more, but hey, it could work on impressionable kids. Beautiful tag belts. I love Money Inc. just rubbing salt on the wound and then the stupid screw pun. I like this promo.
You knocked the screw loose. Pardon the pun.
This is setting up multiple things. Honestly, this also gives more importance to the Beefcake promo. Rotunda was so much in his role, it's great. He gets heat just by being there and being called IRS. It's like today having someone named Dice. Arguments starting with the Heart and Money Inc. Again, setting up a match later, and something bigger too. Brother. A perfect promo. They loved to do these. I mean, why are we still doing them though? At this point, Perfect was already established enough, everyone loved him, just make him have matches, not these cheesy promos. Still, for some reason, someone on Twitter a couple of weeks ago was talking about that video package too, so I guess this gets an iconic win.
Wow, did you see that? What a throw, what a catch.
Dude, this had some incredibly cheesy delivery. That dude cannot act. So this is Luger's 4th match since coming to the WWF, a year without having matches after leaving WCW. Let me check the list. Squash, 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 and squash. Pinky pin. That's funny to say. Pinky pin. And so that's the end of this extremely uneventful Raw. Imagine coming right after the week prior. I'm sure the WWF got a good number of eyes on their product. And then they follow it up with 4 squash matches and an almost squash in the opener too. Which was the longest match of the night at 4 minutes and 10 seconds only. When your longest match is just that length, you've got problems. That's called the Nitro problem. Best thing from the show was probably the Money Inc. promo, but even that isn't very strong. But the personalities of IRS and DiBiase are on display and it's pretty cool. Other than that, seeing Luger for a wider audience is okay, but of course, not for long. I guess Tatanka got to show off his pretty limited selling, and at least High Energy was there to give us a couple of good moves, even if the jobber's timing wasn't always good. You can also give the gold medal of wrestling to Doink in this one, because Matt Bourne was a gem, but unfortunately he wanted more on creative, which is understandable with the way he was piloting his character. But of course he was never given that, because Vince McMahon is a control freak. And so, this is probably worse than the first Raw, isn't it? I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. Too many squashes, and a show maybe saved from a complete disaster from the couple of promos. Doink, and also still listening to the crowd sometimes is fun. Here is the updated list of all the shows and their ratings ranked from best to worst. And so next week, we have the promised match of DiBiase and Beefcake, and also a Battle Royale. Which, by the way, that took place on the same night. The next show is taped for 2 weeks in advance, as the show on the 8th of February was taken away because of dogs. And one last thing before the end of this, thank you everyone for the support on the videos lately. I'm a new channel, and already having the amount of views that I have gotten feels quite surreal, so I want to say thank you. And this is only the beginning, as we are going to continue this weekly. See you then.